Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, your midday market report / closing bell, Friday, October 28th, 2022, just 3 days left in October, as November 1st will be knocking on your door on Tuesday, the day after, before trick or treat. Full action-packed weekend starting tonight. World Series. First pitch at 8:03. Verlander versus Nola. I'm a little surprised there that they didn't move Wheeler up there, but I think Phillies might have something up their sleeve. 2 college football games, East Carolina at BYU, Louisiana Tech at FIU, full slate of NBA, which I can't wait to hear Riley, what he's got up his sleeve. And we'll sprinkle in some NHL. Second half of the show, our weekly trip to Cali. Mr. Lucky follow fade, talking last week's NFL, this week's NFL, and of course, the CIRCA Millions. So without further ado, let's tiptoe to the Southside, Chicago. The one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. What is up, Riley?
What is up, my friend? Happy Friday afternoon. Been a few hours since I've seen you, so it is good to be back once again. But, yeah, you mentioned it. Good day for sports action. Good day to talk about sports. Yeah, we've got the MLB tonight. I don't even know how many NBA games, but, yeah, I've got thoughts on a few of them. NHL, I'm not sure what I can help with on that one. I'm not an NHL guy. I haven't dived through, but looking through it now, maybe I can lend my potentially public perception of to the show and see if you can pick off of me in any way there as far as that is concerned in the NHL. But yeah, it's going to be a good night of sports, good weekend of sports. We've got some good. Obviously, we talked Big Ten this morning, so good football action the rest of the weekend as well. So I am ready to rock and roll with whatever you'd like to go, my friend.
Well, as we were talking this morning on the Big Ten preview for Week 9, breaking news, and I'm just going to touch on this, obviously. Both Tom and Giselle have filed for divorce. Now, listen, every marriage, I think it's like 52% win and 48% lose. I mean, that's just the way it almost sounds like an NFL game. I mean, it's tough. Listen, I lived 45 minutes from Gillette. For 2 decades, I always say this, in Bill we trust, the chicken or the egg. Tom, Bill, both needed each other. They would not be where they are today without each other. Tom gets shunned. He goes on. He finds the perfect landing spot, wins a championship. So now he is, better than Bill in most eyes. It is what it is. I just want to say this, he's 45, especially in the NFL. This is uncharted waters. We always talk about father time catching up to you. To add a marriage that's going south and even in preseason, skipping out and going on a vacation, maybe trying the last ditch effort to save it. She says she wanted him to retire. If he stayed retired, they would have been okay. It is what it is. It's tough in life. When someone tells you what you can't do, you want it more.
Yes.
Super Bowl.
Did we lose you?
Nope, there we go.
Me?
I got you back.
Okay, I don't know. Was that on my end? I'm not sure if that was on my end. But, I don't know if you kept going. But, no, you're absolutely right. I am very much a person that subscribes to that as well, as far as if someone tells me no, it's like, well, especially if it's something where I might want to do and think I can do, then it's well, screw you. I might go ahead and do it anyways.
Yeah, so that's my 2 cents there. And listen, I said this a long time ago, and I'll say it again. Bucks lose a couple more games, and I just think for the mental part of it, Tom will get an injury, wink, wink, and he'll just tap out and fade off into the sunset.
I could say, not to use, a different situation, I would say. Not the, a totally different situation. But, you go back to someone who's obviously in the news for different legal issues right now. But Brett Favre, if you remember back in the Vikings days, had the awesome season. And then, after that, he did have legitimate injuries. It was on top of not playing well. It was, the injury stuff, let me just bow out here. So, I don't know if that's what we'll see or not, but whether obviously Father Time is Father Time, and the Bucs situation itself isn't as good as it's been in the past, and I don't know that that's going to be fixed, and I think he's aware of that. Whether or not he's there enough or not, I don't know if that matters as far as the grand scheme of things. They've got a ton of problems around him as well. So it might get worse before it gets better over there right now.
World Series. If I made this statement, would you agree or not agree? If the Phillies did not come back game one of the playoffs, the play-in games, whatever you want to call it, the best of three against the Cards, if they lost that game 2-0 or 2-1, I am making a statement right now. The Phillies would not be in the World Series.
I think I agree with you. I had the Cardinals winning that series itself, and not only did that really push the Phillies down the path that they're on, obviously winning that game, and that sets you up to win that series, obviously, but the momentum that they've had since then, I mean, through, it was the ninth inning. I think they made all of those runs back, and up until that point, it was 0 runs. They did not look like the team that we've seen. I don't know if St. Louis goes on this run that we've seen, maybe not, the excitement that we've seen. I don't know if they go right through the Padres or not. But I mean, all of the momentum that St. Louis had was sucked out of them that day, and then obviously gave all of it to the Phillies. So I don't think they win that series, let alone get through the couple series after that they did. So I 100% agree with you.
And I'm torn here. I'm as open as I'm probably too transparent, and that's just the way I've been born, and I'm going to stick to this script. In July, I gave out to the ECSI VIPs, Astros, American League champs, Astros World Series champs. Everyone knows I have the Champions Parlay with the Astros, with Alabama, with the Bills. I have stated since that comeback win and what they have done, they remind me of the 2018 Red Sox, the 2019 Nationals. You got two teams colliding. Astros undefeated in the whole playoff series, which Seattle easily could have won 2 games. The Yankees easily could have won a couple games. Mm-hmm. One of the Seattle games went 16 innings versus a Phillies team who's undefeated at home. Now we have a 2-3-2 series. Verlander, Cy Verlander is not Cy Verlander right now. I know that. You know that. Everyone else knows it. There was a game, the first game against the Padres with Darvish. I think the Phillies had 4 hits, 2 of them solo homers, one by Schwarber, one by Harper. Verlander tonight and what's his name? Valdez, right? Game 2.
Let's see. I believe you are correct. I don't know if it's Valdez and Wheeler tomorrow. Yep.
And then Valdez and Wheeler. Here I'm obviously vestedly interested in the Astros.
Right.
If I told you, I'm just going to go on record right now. It's 3:52. I think the Phillies find a way. I do.
I think you and I are on the same page here because I'm not against you. It doesn't feel like that narrative. It's like, oh, they're having so much fun. Let's be the fan favorite. That they actually are a good team. That is just, as you mentioned, those two teams. Also, it's not just a team that's. I mean, they are hot, but it's not just a team that's fluky hot like the Orioles were for. I don't want to call them fluky, but as hot as they were for as long as they were for being a team that was projected to win 70 or so games. This is a team that's got a lineup that if they're firing, if three of them are firing on all cylinders or hot at whatever time, then it's a dangerous offense. And like you said with the Astros, yeah, they're undefeated, but look back at any of the, I don't, maybe not every single game, but so many of those games, every single one of those three Seattle games, the games against the Yankees, there's so many games that could have gone the other way, and especially if you're having those types of games in Philly, it seems like the Phillies are going to win all of those games, and so I guess I think the path for the Astros might be to get up 2-0, and then maybe just win one of the three in Philly and then get it back to Houston. But if in my opinion, if the Phillies win one of these two games, going back for three, I don't know. It's going to be hard for the Astros to swing that home field advantage back if the Phillies can win either of these games. Is the way I see it. So I'm kind of with you. At the same time, I've always said that the Astros, just more than anyone else, especially in this season, just give me more confidence that they seem to just figure out how to win games. And so that's why I think this is going to be a really long series and, at least 6 games. But I'm with you. The Phillies just seem to have that magic right now, and the timely hit is or home run or whatever you want to call it is obviously a massive here in October. But, I think we're on the same page for the most part there.
2019. At Houston, first 2 games, the Nationals wheel out Strasburg and Max. Mm-hmm. I think it was Max game 1, Strasburg game 2, if I remember correctly. They won both games. And so here's what I'm saying. I guess you'd call it stealing if somehow, some way, the Phillies find a way to win game 1. If they win game 1 and Zach Wheeler has been unhittable, they are playing with even more extended house money with an opportunity to go up 2-0, come back to Philadelphia where they're undefeated, which we all know then Houston would win game 3. And then, then it's 2-1 Phillies. And then we got to find a way that Astros have to win one more game to guarantee to get back to Houston.
Right. And I guess I would say, Framber Valdez isn't his name doesn't put as much fear into people's hearts, but he is one of the more under the radar guys just to show up and give you 7 innings, 2 runs, ho hum, see you later. The Astros win, 3-2 or something like that. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I mean, obviously Wheeler's been fantastic. I'm not disputing that. I'm just, as someone, and of course the White Sox have had a lineup that is not suitable to beat Mr. Valdez there. He's just somebody that not enough people give credit for, and then the next thing you know, he's going 7 strong, giving you a really, really solid start, at least keeping you in the game, if not dominating it. So don't write that guy off, but I hear what you're saying 100%. I mean, the Phillies could absolutely win these 2 games with these 2 arms they got today and tomorrow.
And listen, I'm not here to say it's the Phillies are going to win. I'm investedly interested financially in the Astros. Yeah. Another thing, I can't see Mattress Mac walking around from casino to casino to collect $75 million. It'll be the biggest score in the history. And I got the scoop on why he's got so much invested. His promo this time was very simple. You purchase $3,000 in furniture at his place, and if the Astros win the World Series, not only do you get the $3,000 back, you double it. So you get an additional $3,000. Wow. So I don't know if that's a store credit. I can't see him cutting checks to each individual, but I think it might be you get your initial, whatever your furniture costs back in cash, credit, however you did it. And then whatever that number is, you're going to get a store credit for that price too.
Yeah, that I did not hear that. That's ridiculous. I saw something, I can't remember what book it was, but someone offered him a hedge opportunity on the Phillies, and he said, not in a million years, go Stros or something like that. So, the dude's riding with the Astros. But, I don't know. I am, I can go both ways on it, but this Phillies magic does not seem to be any joke. As far as tonight's game, are you feeling any confidence, or is this a situation where, if I don't know, are you waiting and seeing on any series prices? Are you jumping in on anything tonight? Jumping in anything on the game tonight?
I got egg in my face in the Padres series. Here's why. You could have got, before the first pitch, you could have got Phillies plus 105.
Right.
And I got cute. I says, I like the Phillies in the series, but it was Darvish, I think maybe versus Wheeler in that game. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to lean Padres game one, hope that they win, jump back and grab the Phillies after they lose game one at plus 160, 170. And needless to say, they win game one, they lose game two, but the rest was history. So with that said, I'm going to paint the scenario for everyone watching and listening. It's tough. I mean, in a series, I don't go to the window every day and play minus 180s, but in a series, when you're looking at potentially a 6 or 7 game series, it's okay to go play a 180 because you're getting 4 or 5 days of action. You're getting opportunities to hedge. You're getting opportunities to double down. So if you like Houston in this series and you think Verlander is going to win game one, then you need to buy now. You need to take the Astros. If you like the Phillies in this series and you think that Verlander and the Astros are going to win game one, wait.
Yeah.
Wait till after game one. You're going to get the Phillies plus 240, 250, and then take them, and you got Wheeler on the mound. Obviously, you're going to need to steal that game. That's my initial thought about tonight.
I think I'm with you. Yeah, no, that's kind of exactly where I was expecting you to go down that path for sure there. So, yeah, I don't know. Are you leaning towards a rough Verlander start or not? I'm a little hesitant. I'm feeling good about a nice Nola start tonight. I don't know. In the regular season, it would have been like we talked about in the playoffs. Regular season, it probably would have been a time where we're feeling a nice Nola bounce back. But in tonight's case, both these teams got a nice bit of rest, so I don't know if that has any effect on tonight's game at all. If they're both going to be a little sluggish offensively or not, I don't know. But I don't know. Any interest in Nola having a good start? Whether that and I guess maybe that has no effect on the game at all. Maybe Verlander's fantastic too for you. I don't know.
Well, I just pulled up the first 5. You know, Verlander was probably 17-3, maybe 17-4. First 5 minus the hook, obviously. The money line, he's only minus 150. Now, let me go to the spread. This will be the telltale. Okay, here's the telltale right now for you. You can get Verlander minus the hook, first 5 at plus 105. Never seen that all year. I haven't seen that.
No, and on the public books, it's minus. I see minus 105, still at a pretty reasonable price for a lot of people's eyes. So, I know the game total is under 6.5. Over under 6.5. I saw in most spots. So, I don't know. And then when you look at that, you see the 6.5, and then you see the home run totals. We've talked about these home run totals. A lot of these 6.5 game totals, the home run props are 4-1 or higher. I'm seeing 3 under that 4-1 mark. So that kind of makes me stop and wonder, are any of those of value or are those trap value? Because there's going to be 1,000,001 people trying to bet some home runs because it's the World Series. I mean, Alvarez is 285 plus 285, Schwarber 320, but we've got a game total of 6.5. I mean, is the game total messed up in that situation, or are these home run props messed up?
No, because it's a short porch in left field. You got 2 righties, so you want to go down the lefty train. You want to look at a Valdez. You want to look at a Harper. You want to look at a Schwarber. And what's the Schwarber price?
320.
Yeah. I mean, you technically could sprinkle it on the 3 lefties right there. And if you get one of them to hit, you're going to make a little money. If you get 2 out of the 3 to hit, you're going to make 3-1.
Okay, fair enough. No, fair enough, totally. Yeah, so and then obviously, you mentioned Verlander's first half price. Yeah.
What are you seeing for MVP prices?
On the series? Before I was going to look up what the strikeout totals are for each guy tonight. That was one thing I wanted to check out before we move on. Let's see. Nola is 5.5 minus 118 to the over. Verlander's 6.5 plus 116 to the over. That one's a little interesting. I'm not taking that. No, I don't know. That a lot of I don't know. These star pitchers, when you see plus money on those strikeout totals, have been kind of bad news for those pitchers in a lot of cases. I don't know.
Each team wants to win game one. So look at the first half number. Minus 150 money line, plus 105 with the hook. Okay, now look at the strikeout totals. Okay, so they're telling you Verlander's getting 6 or less. I'm telling you, something's wrong with him. Something's wrong with him. Now,
I'm with
we
you.
know the Phillies don't have a back end and they don't have Bridges. Well, they sure have so far in this playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, it could crack and break. But, again, call me bleeping crazy. Call me crazy. I can see the Phillies winning today, and I can honestly see Nola and the Phillies winning game 2.
Wheeler and the Phillies tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I am 100% with you. I think Nola's in for a good start tonight. But to the World Series point or the MVP points, Bryce Harper 480 is the leader right there. Alvarez 650 for the Astros, and then Verlander's 10-1, Kyle Tucker 11-1, Bregman 12-1, Schwarber 13, Altuve 13-1. Anybody else you were curious about? Reese Hoskins 19-1. 19-1 for
Hoskins was
Hoskins
the other
there,
one.
yeah. Castellanos 35-1 if he gets hot.
So stop. Who is the favorite to win the MVP?
Bryce Harper 480.
Who's he play for?
He plays for the Philadelphia Phillies, my friend. He certainly does.
Listen, I was born at night, not last night, and I'm holding Astro tickets.
I
Okay?
know.
I'm just telling you. I'm only reporting the news. I'm the messenger. Guys, everything I look and I turn to leans the Phillies.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you. Now I'm curious with the 480 odds. I'm wondering if I should be betting Harper to hit a home run every single day and seeing how that piles up. Who knows? I don't know, but no, I mean, yeah, 480 and then Alvarez 650 and then it's a drop off after that. I mean, Verlander 10-1. Either he's like we're talking about, maybe something's wrong with him. I at the least I don't think anything's. I don't think we're seeing Cy Verlander. I mean, last start he numbers wise was okay, but he muscled through that one against the Yankees. So I something's afoot here. Something is afoot here, and especially not Altuve, who hasn't been fantastic, but all these other names for the Astros at double digit, 10-1, 11-1, 12-1. That's a little concerning as well, in my opinion. There.
I mean, if people were trying to dabble on some pizza and beer money on the MVPs, obviously you got to play Harper, you got to play Valdez, and then from there, I would take a look again at a lefty with Schwarber. I would initially lean Tucker, but you know who's clutch in these spots is Bregman. Bregman is clutch. Yes. What's Bregman?
12-1.
Yeah. So I'd keep an eye on that one as well. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's the World Series. I would just strongly suggest people, before you run to the window, I mean, if you got futures like us, there's opportunities. If you want to just, I guess I'll go back on record before we go to the NBA here. I'm just going to say this. If you like the Phillies to win the series, you can do one or two things. You can sit and wait and hope Verlander win, or you can take them now, or you can wait and sprinkle a little something. You're still getting plus 150 tonight, 140 on them tonight, and play it that way. I just think, listen, everyone's waiting and expecting for Wheeler because he's been lights out. Yeah. Don't let Nola get locked in. Forget about it if he gets locked in.
Right. I might be interested in Philly's first 5 money line tonight. I don't know. That might be where I'm headed as far as tonight's case. But yeah, I don't know. This is. I'm glad we have these conversations because I would put my basketball, football knowledge above my own baseball knowledge. So anytime I can get some extra thoughts and whatnot, I'm not as strong with baseball as I am with football and basketball. So it's breaking these down helps quite a bit. So I love these conversations because I don't know. Again, the Astros give me confidence, but just in general on a daily basis. But something's not quite right here.
Our buddy has entered the building. Give me the thumbs up, Mr. Lucky, if you're ready. He gave us a thumbs up. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Mr. Lucky. We'll talk NFL last week, NFL this week. We'll go over the CIRCA, and I know Lucky's on a tight time schedule. I don't want to interfere with the beautiful lunch that he's probably got prepared, and then we'll come back and we'll circle the wagons for the NBA and college football.
Sounds good.
All right, without further ado, the one, the only Mr. Lucky himself.
Hey, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Happy Friday.
For most, for some it's not, but for most it is.
Yeah, I've got some time, Jeff. I wanna hang out with you guys for a while. Who cares about my lunch? We want to talk some football. I've got some thoughts on the World Series if you want to hear my 3 cents.
Listen, I tell you what, well, I'm trying to get we're going to be on a drag for a second, so I'll give it a second here. This was on me, guys. I apologize. I forgot to pull up the CIRCA Millions here for later.
I've got it memorized.
I know, but I try to let it so the viewers can see it. Lucky, take away the World Series. It's yours.
Here's what I'll say about the World Series. Does anybody remember 2019 when you had the Nationals, who I knew would win the World Series because they had a 1-2 punch? Now, granted, Nolan Wheeler are not. They're good, but they're not Scherzer and
Scherzer and who? Strasburg,
yeah. Here's what I'll say about tonight's game. Phillies come in with house money. Phillies can hit the long ball. Phillies can strike out. I don't think Cy Verlander is pitching his A game. I mean, what's Dusty going to get out of him tonight? 5 innings?
Maybe 6.
Maybe 6. 2019 World Series. Phillies steal a game in Houston. It's going to be a series. Now, I hedged. Jeff Dawson knows what ticket I have in my hip pocket. We had this discussion in July. Is Houston the best team? Yes. But that doesn't mean you're going to win the World Series.
No.
So I think the Phillies are sneaky here. They've got Bryce Harper, who at some point will probably be a Hall of Famer. I've been a critic of Bryce Harper. I think he's slightly overrated because to me his stats come in bunches. Now, is he good? Of course he's good. But I love Schwarber. I mean, that guy's the best 210 hitter in the history of baseball. I mean, he's the only hitter ever, other than Dave Kingman, to hit under 220 and have more than 40 home runs and lead the league. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's fact. Schwarber is good. He gives you at-bats. He will strike out. But they're sneaky. Phils are sneaky. Dawson is smiling over there because he knows it too. So I think if you want to hedge, and I have hedged, I think the Phillies can make this a 6-game series, even if they lose 2 in Houston. Now, if they lose 2 in Houston, they're not going to win the series. But I don't think this is a sweep. And, Thompson has the Phillies believing. Phillies weren't even supposed to be here. Was Atlanta supposed to win last year? No. I had Atlanta in my hip pocket. I think the Phils are going to give them a series. Thoughts? I think you guys were talking a little bit about it. Jeff, I know that you sort of agree with me, and I know Riley's kind of following our lead here, but I think it's going to be a dangerous spot for the Astros.
If you go back to 19, Mr. Lucky, Max and Strasburger, they won both games. They left Houston up 2-0.
That series, if you remember, every road team won.
So the numbers are not adding up. The MVP is not adding up. Something is wrong with Cy Verlander. Now, don't forget, we've been waiting for the Phillies, Bridges, and back end to blow up, and it hasn't yet. Could it? Of course it could. But in playoff baseball, in 7-game series, in 5-game series, these guys are just, the manager turns to him and goes, "Hey, Riley, I need 4 outs. Can you get it to me? And the adrenaline, of course I can, coach. Mr. Lucky, I need you to get these 2 lefties out. Can you do it? Of course I can, coach. And the guys stepping up, the Alvarados of the world and everyone else. I've seen it for Boston for many, many, many years. I saw Sale coming out of the bullpen. I saw David Price coming out of the bullpen, Evaldi coming out of the bullpen, and these guys that just step up. Do you know what they're harping on? And I never even put 2 and 2 together. Listen, you both know I was the leader. Joe must go. I was talking about Joe. We got Joe Madden out, then Joe Girardi was next. See, you wouldn't want to be 20 and 29. When this all started coming together, do you remember they made the trade for Marsh from the Angels and another bat to lengthen? What do we call them? We call them a Friday night softball defensive team because that's what they are. They are a Friday night softball team defensively. And couple of their blunders so far in the playoffs have not cost them. I asked Riley this question. I'll ask you this question, Mr. Lucky. If the Phillies don't come back in game 1, down 2-0, 1 out, they were plus 1,500 in now in-game live in game 1. If the Phillies lose that game 2-0, 2-1, instead of scoring 6 in that inning, are the Phillies in the World Series right now?
No, they're out fishing or doing golf tee times because that's baseball. Sometimes we'll get to CIRCA in football. Sports are very relatable. They're intertwined because things happen sometimes in a season when it's going to be your year, when there's karma, good karma, right? The Phillies do not beat the Cardinals, period. The Braves last year, the Rays the year before, I can go on and on. I've been watching baseball since I was 7, 8 years old, before Jeff Dawson might have been born. So it's been around for years. And I remember a 1960, oh my God, I'm aging myself. I remember a 1969 Baltimore Oriole team that won 109 games that faced your New York Mets. Go back to that starting rotation the Mets had.
Seaver?
They had Seaver. They had Kuzman. They had Nolan Ryan was on that team. The point being is the Mets had house money. They embarrassed the Orioles. So it happens. It's sports. It's baseball, right? And I'm not implying that that'll be the case here. But if you think the Astros are going to, come into this series and they're going to sweep, I don't think so. And I think the Phillies are actually better. Their lineup is very solid because they do something that a lot of teams can't do. They can be up 3-0 with one swing. Mm-hmm. And that I'm not a big believer in the 3-run homer like Earl Weaver was, but when you get hot for a week or 2 weeks, it can carry you.
Yeah.
And the Phillies, they're getting some at bats from Hoskins, who I think is a good player. I mean, this guy was touted for years. Good for him. I'm happy for the kid. And Bryce Harper seems like it's his time, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
This guy's been a prodigy, if you will. Yeah, it's almost his time. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but Melvin, I wonder if anybody asked Melvin if Hader enjoyed viewing that home run that Harper hit. I mean, how is not Hader in that ball game? I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I talked to my San Diego correspondents. And
John Orsillo?
One of them. And they asked me, Jeff, what do you think? I says, well, the opening number came back short. I said, it's a Phillies series. And I says, here's the deal. It's a very simple deal. You need to get Hader out there for 4 opportunities to close the game. And if he gets that opportunity, you will go on to the World Series. What happens? He got 1 opportunity and he closed the deal. And that was it.
Mhm.
It's like, it's like, how do you beat the Kansas City Chiefs? You keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline next to Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, and you control the ball. That's how you're going to beat Buffalo. You're not going to outscore Buffalo this year. You're not going to outscore the Chiefs. So how is you going to beat the Padres? You keep their best reliever who came back into form. He was lights out, Hader.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. He only got 1 opportunity. Now, if for some reason the 2 horses for Philly can't go long, if Nola's out in the 3rd today and Wheeler's out in the 3rd or the 4th, it's not going back to Houston, okay? Because the Astros will decimate that back end real quick, and it will be a 4 or 5 game series, okay? So as I told Riley very simply, Nola and the numbers smell tonight. And we all agree, it's not Cy Verlander anymore. It's not. There's something a little wrong. I'm not calling it major. There's something wrong from that Verlander, okay? And Wheeler's been lights out. He has been phenomenal. So nothing against Valdez either, but I give the Phillies a real good chance to split in Houston. And as I had told Riley, and I'll say to you, call me crazy, I think the Phillies got a real good chance to win both games in Houston.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Looking forward to it.
I completely agree, and I love the point you made, Lucky, about the 3-run homer for the Phillies. I mean, they're kind of a fantastic case of why it can be flawed and why it can be really dangerous if it's working, right? They only win 87 games in the regular season and go through these stretches of such an inconsistent offense, and now obviously you're seeing the benefits of it. If you're getting hot and you get 2 or 3 guys hot at the right time, then they're extremely dangerous. And then last thing, you did mention Schwarber, lead the league under 210. Did not lead the league, but in 2012, Adam Dunn for my White Sox hit 41 bombs while hitting 204. So, I was not much of a fan of his, but I had to double check to see where he landed in that season because I knew it was rough on the average, but I knew he was somewhere around 40 bombs that year.
That's another classic swinger, big swinger that didn't hit for average. Rob Deere for Gorman Thomas, way back when. Dave Kingman, the all-timer, though. Mike Schmidt one year hit under 200, by the way. Speaking of Phillies.
You didn't even bring up Joey Gallo.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Don't even get me started on your 111 win LA Dodgers. I mean, I'll sound like Mike Francesa. Anyway, boys, what do you guys think about Week 8? You want a week? I should give you a recap about Week 7 because I just about went to the drinking well. I was so frustrated with things. I left 5 winners at the desk. It's going to happen. Okay? You guys know the way football works. You're not going to win every week. You're going to leave games. You're going to have a shoulda, coulda, woulda, which we wanted to avoid. We had this philosophical seance before CIRCA. We will trust our picks. We will agree with our picks. We can live with our results. But boy, when you leave 5 at the desk, gosh, that was tough. And the Patriots didn't show up on Monday. I hate Monday nights, by the way. Oof. Jeff sent out the blast, and it was funny because it was music to my ears. The whole world's on the Patriots. The minute I heard that Mac was starting, I knew we were done. I didn't tell the boys that, but I knew we were done. And they didn't show up.
I talked about it all week where my sources were telling me whoever started the Bears game was starting the following Sunday in the Jets game. Now, what happened was Zappy fever and the perfect storm. The Lions come in, they get shut out 26-0. They go to Cleveland, they put up a 30-plus burger. Zappy throws for over 300 yards. Mac is Belichick's guy. Okay, so he'd been pressing him the whole time. Don't get the surgery, just keep working on it. So you're back before 6 weeks, 5 weeks. We're not putting on the IR. We want you ready. So my take on it, and I knew it right away. First of all, Belichick has always struggled with mobile quarterbacks. That's number one. And as if you watch the game, the outsides were not playing containment. Judon was going right for Fields, and Fields would just do the spin move like you were playing whatever video game, and he's just hitting the spin button and just spinning outside, and there was no one there. And you knew right away, the Pats did not come up with a game plan. They were already on to New York. Now, he pulls the cord. Zappy, okay? The playbook changed as soon as Zappy comes in. He hits Ramondre for 18 yards. No one's even near him, okay? He hits a dart in the middle for about 11 yards. He throws a jump ball to Parker and then a jump ball to Jacoby. These weren't Joe Montana, John Elway, fine routes, good cuts, throws on the dime. These were jump balls, and Mac doesn't even get allowed to throw them. So the crowd's in it. They take the lead. They couldn't stop the Bears. They couldn't get them off the field. Then someone reached out to me in the third quarter, goes, Jeff, the Patriots had the lead. I left for a while. What happened? The Bears can't get off the field. They were just first down, score, first down. And then by then it was too late. And as Bill would say, we're on to Cincinnati, which means we're on to the Jets.
Yeah, and I think Riley. I know he's not a Bears fan, but he watches. I mean, the Bears have shown me a little bit this year. I think their defense. They're probably in sell mode. They got rid of Quinn, but their defense to me has improved. They've beaten me twice at the Circa. I think this coach is done an okay job. I'm still not sure Fields is bad. I think he has his moments. I just think they have to open up his legs. I mean, he definitely, I'm not going to compare him to Josh Allen or Hurts, but he can do some damage with his feet.
Right. And that was the best. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. That was the best.
I think that was something in their playbook that Dallas needs to be aware of. And that'll be a tough spot for the Bears this week.
Right, and you nailed the Bears perfectly, honestly. I don't know if Fields is this guy. I think it's too early to tell. That was definitely his best game and their best game this year, but the coaching staff has done a good enough job to keep them in every single game. I've talked about it. They've been in every single game, and then, whether or not they can execute late has really been the bane of their existence this year. But and it's really been, if you give them a team that's vastly superior in talent to them, that's when they've struggled the most. But when you've got a team that's not as talented and not as well coached, then they've had some success in. I'm not saying that's the Patriots necessarily, but yeah, this Bears team isn't. It's not talented, but it's not a terrible team by any means.
And that's where coaching comes in.
Yeah.
In any sport. I mean, Dable is a perfect example. Were you guys watching this game last week, which I left at the desk? Remember, I told everybody last week on this show that if you've lost 18 in a row to the NFC, and everybody was on the Jags, except Mr. Lucky. Well, I'm kidding, but you know the point. If you can lose 18 in a row to the NFC, guess what, Jeff and Riley? You can lose 19 in a row. But I'll tell you what I love about Dable, real quick. The Jags are driving. The defense is a little bit gassed, and this happens all the time. It drives me bananas with the coaches. Why do you not use a timeout on defense sometimes? You're ahead. The Giants are ahead. The Jags are moving the ball. Dable brilliantly calls a timeout for two reasons. You rest your defense. You strategize. Too many times in the prevent defense, coaches don't use their timeouts ahead. I realize the clock is your ally, but rest your damn defense. That's how good a coach that guy is. Now, you could come back and say to me, well, Mr. Lucky, Jags were within 1 yard of winning. Well, if my uncle had, he'd be my aunt. Bottom line is they cashed. And it was a brilliant move by Dable. And if you think I'm buying the Geno Smith this week, because they went to Jacksonville. Then they're flying back home to the New York to their facilities. The Seahawks. What did I tell you last week, Jeff Dawson? And Jeff knew I pretty good winner for us in the pocketbook too. What's happening this week? Your Seahawks are now favored. Be very careful, gambling Twitter. All of you love your Seattle Seahawks. Who's 6-1? Yeah, I know. 7 games, all by one score. Giants are overrated. Blah blah blah. What's their record?
6-1.
Who is second in the NFL in rushing yards by a quarterback? Who's the front runner for Coach of the Year? Who doesn't have the best talent in the division but is 6-1? Back to your point with coaching, Riley. He's a good coach.
He's very good.
Martindale is a heck of a coach. And I'm going on a limb when when the dawn hits Monday morning and Dawson is in some ship somewhere, he's gonna say the New York Football Giants are 7-1. How? How is this possible? They don't have a passing game coaching, and they believe, and they're making plays. That's one of my CIRCA recommendations for everyone. I'm not buying Seattle. They're a favorite now. Why? Who's got a better record? I'm not buying it, Jeff. Riley.
Well, quickly, NFL not for long. We know that you're definitely almost at the halfway point. You
23-11-1, by the way.
You got the one bad week out of the way, and as you said, the
Yeah.
consensus went 1-4, so you technically gained ground on the competition. Again, I know you, you know me. When I was in these contests, unfortunately, again, I don't play the Thursday games. All you guys know here, I was on the Ravens last night. A Bucks team again. Here's a funny, and a couple people reached out to me. One on the national level, which I love when this happens. Yesterday, someone sends me a text. He goes, "You got 5 minutes, Jeff?" I said, "Of course I do." And he goes, "Hey, what the hell's going on in the game? How the hell did I go to bed and the Ravens were 1.5-point favorites, and now I wake up and they're 2-point underdogs?" And I says, "Well, there's a couple factors and reasons here." And lots of times the general public and the degens don't have time to do the homework. They work 9 to 5s, 8 to 4s, or whatever. So when they get to wherever they follow, they can see the line move. It's called steam. We're going to follow the move. So the general public and the degens yesterday were all on the move and the Bucks. And I talk about games getting stale, and it's Vegas playing their tricks. All right, guys, we need some action on this game. Watch how we're going to do this. We're going to now make the Ravens, who are -1.5, we're going to make them +2. And then everyone on social media, gambling Twitter's done an uproar. Oh, my God. And then he asked, well, and I gave him credit for this one. I always give credit where it's due. He goes, well, what about the Mark Andrews injury? And I was like, well, quarterbacks can move a number 5, 6, 7. I know that's his binky, but I says, that's a good thought. I don't know if he'd move at 3.5 points, Andrews, if he was out. He started the game and then eventually got out. And I had likely on my teams for 7 weeks. And because of bye weeks and injuries, I finally cut him. And of course, he scored, by the way. And our buddy Duvernay, Riley. I told you, keep an eye on that Duvernay guy. So anyways, it's again, Vegas playing Jedi mind tricks. Okay. And it's a cat and mouse game. And sometimes you just got to go with your gut. And if you like the Ravens at -1.5, well, you sure better like them at +2 and say, screw what Vegas is doing.
Little Mr. Lucky system that I've used for years. And it doesn't always work. I will preface it by that. But it always helps me handicap a game. who was struggling going into that game and who had a better record. How the heck does Tampa get steamed to favorite?
Tom
That was
Brady,
it to me.
prime
That was
time.
a no-brainer. No-brainer to me, Jeff, honestly, and Riley. Baltimore was aside. And it doesn't mean that it's always going to hit, but and to this week, which I love some of the games, we could spin it 100 times. Bills off a loss. Do you know what 40 means in the Jets Patriots series? You know what the number 40 means? This is the first time in 40 games that the Jets have a better record than the Patriots.
Hasn't the Patriots won 12 in a row too?
Yes. And do you know what 21 means in this series? The Patriots have been favored 21 straight times. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go to the window and take the Jets, okay? The Jets have less offense than I do. But the Jets have a culture. The Jets are at home. The Jets have a very good defense. The whole world is on the Patriots. Bill off a loss, an embarrassment. I get it. Be very careful. That's all I will say. Be very careful because who has a better record?
The Jets.
Who has a better defense?
The Jets.
I think the Jets do. The one thing about that game I don't like is Wilson is immobile. And Bill is a great coach. Duh, we know this. But I would not be shocked if the Jets go to 6-2. And on Monday morning, everyone's going to be saying, oh my God, why isn't Zappy in? Mac's not the guy. The Patriots are going nowhere this year. They could very well win, but for me, it's Jets or pass on Sunday. What do you guys think of Vegas and the Saints? I have a thought on that one.
You always want to dip your toe in Vegas, don't you? You know you're not supposed to.
Well, here's what I want to ask you, Jeff, because I want to kind of pick the board with you guys a little bit. A little system that Lucky uses. And I think I've shared a few over the last month or two. I'm looking at the Raiders for one reason. This is their first of back-to-back games on the road. I know that they will not go 0-2. They may go 2-0 because they have momentum. They are playing a little better. Now, granted, they won last week. Not in my card. I haven't played the Raiders the last couple of weeks. Jacobs is playing for a contract. The Saints are a mess. I mean, I trust Andy Dalton about as much as I trust my mom throwing me a 10-yard pass. Winston's not going to play. They're banged up defensively. Vegas either wins this week or they lose next week. They're not going to go 0-2. So that's a little system I like to use. The Saints are awful at home, non-conference. 2-14 against the spread. So I have a feeling Vegas might grab a game. They're going to go 3-4. Kind of like the Cardinals on the road, which again, that team I can't figure out. But Kingsbury, got a little stat for you here. Hopkins is back, and Kingsbury, I wrote this down. I wanted to give you a couple of tidbits. Kingsbury is 8-0 as a road dog his last 8. So I think the side will probably be the Cardinals. I don't think the Vikings are a 5-1 team. I don't see them going 6-1. You got the Rams, the afternoon slate I like. The Rams are playing the Niners. Boy, I liked the Chiefs last week. I left that one at the desk. Niners own the Rams. I think the Rams are dead. The Niners are not going to go 3-5. That line started, the Rams were 2.5, opened up Rams 2.5. I think the Niners are 1.5 as we speak. Um, kind of
Not to
like the
cut you off,
Niners. Yeah,
just got news about no Debo is what I just got. Not to cut
no
you off, but
Debo.
no Debo officially.
I just
Wow.
got it too.
Yeah, that'll change my thought on that one. I just can't see the Rams. I can't see the Niners 3-5. Jeff Riley, 3-5. They're in trouble.
Not only that, but just the way they've had success against the Rams and McVay over the last. I mean, Shanahan versus McVay. I don't know if you want to put it in terms of that, but aside from the NFC Championship last year, it's been all Niners and Shanahan in these matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a side I might look at. Rams are off a bye. There's an interesting stat I saw read a little bit this week on teams. Good teams off a bye, and this week you have 4 teams off a bye. They're all at home. You've got the Bills. I'm not playing the Packers. I mean, I think the Packers might be a little better than Tampa on a neutral field. In fact, they are better than Tampa because they beat Tampa. And I think probably Aaron probably needs Riley to go out and be a wide receiver. By the way, Riley saw the game last week, and I got to be honest, I'm not a huge fan off the field of Aaron Rodgers. I think there's too much in the narrative. But I will say this, you guys. They had 2 dropped interceptions last week. And they had at least, Riley, I know you probably know this, 6 or 7 drop passes. I mean, he is pissed. And I kind of don't blame him. I just can't stand the coach.
Okay, Jeff and I were talking about it this morning. It was in this past game. There was the timing of the drops were like 3rd and 2, really key points. I mean, he still had a few throws that he needs to fix up, and I mean, I defend him more than the majority of Packers media does and whatnot, and the national media by far for sure. But no, I mean, things definitely have to change. Defensively though, I don't know. As far as this game against the Bills, I know Lazard, which obviously that it's tough to afford losing any more receivers, especially he's not a guy that gets separation, but the trust that Rodgers has, that's one of the higher ones. But the defense, it's been puzzling at times, but also looked fantastic at times. And you're right, should have been a couple interceptions. So I don't know. I almost envision this game. I'm not saying the Packers win. I almost envision it going fairly similarly to the last 3 weeks, where it's a really frustrating loss, but it's not like we get our asses kicked by any means. Pardon my language.
I mean, the Bills are 7. The Bills have outscored the 2 opponents at home 79, I believe, to 10. That won't happen.
Right.
My brain says you can't go against the Bills. I have no problem if you want to take the 11. Take the dog there. Washington, Indy, no thanks. Tennessee, Houston, no thanks. Miami, Detroit, I mean, I don't know. Miami can't score in the red zone. Their defense is beat up. I mean, Detroit couldn't guard me and the Three Stooges. This coach, and I think he's a nice guy, and, I get Hard Knocks, but they're 4-18-1. I mean, they're not very good. I can't take Detroit. Chicago, Dallas, I have no idea. My Mr. Lucky's little man says Dallas in a rout. I think the Bears were celebrating a little too much after that game on Monday. Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. Cincinnati is, I think, got some momentum. Cleveland's awful. Thank you, Cleveland. Thanks for covering last week. My Ravens 6.5 ticket. That was one of our losses last week, which really ticked me off. I hate when we lose. Look, we're going to get backdoored in football. We know that. Yeah. But nothing irritates me more than when I win, but they don't cover. That one drives me bananas, like the Ravens last week. So that's kind of what I have. I mean, I think it's an interesting, going to be an interesting week for Mr. Lucky and the 2 amigos, because they can't come up with 5, and I like 3 or 4 quite a bit, which are Arizona, the Giants, The Jets. Um, I have no opinion on Philly and Pittsburgh. I mean, that's the battle of Pennsylvania. I don't know, Jeff. Riley, I mean, 9.5. Now it's steamed to what, 10.5? I mean, Philadelphia, are they that good? Hope Dan DeMan isn't listening to us. I mean, is Philadelphia that good, Jeff?
I say I have the hard. It's funny because you're going over the card and I'm just making mental notes. If I told you what my favorite play on this card is, you'll laugh because you mentioned it. I think Arizona not only covers, but they beat the Vikings.
Yeah, I do too, Jeff.
And that's scary because I used to be very successful at gauging the temperature of teams coming off bye weeks. And as everyone wants to think about this and say, okay, what did the Eagles do during the bye week? Well, they just added an amazing pass rusher, and they're trying to add Alvin Kamara as we speak to their backfield. Minnesota, what'd they do? Well, they're 5-1. No one believes they're a 5-1 team. They probably got fat off the hog, and in comes an Arizona team with a 5'4" quarterback and running for his life, and a coach that's got 1 foot out the door. Yet the line's only 3.5, which everyone in this panel here knows what's the right side on that one. And Riley will smile. At least that's one game closer that you're going to get to these guys. I agree with the Bears and the Cowboys. Again, now, do the Cowboys peak, though, because they're coming up to their bye week? Bears, short week, living high off the hog. That number started at 10.5. There's only one way that number can go, and that's down. So you're getting it under double digits. No Zeke Elliott. Brady, we did the show last night, and Brady sent us stuff during the day. It'll be the Pollard show there. I think the Cowboys win by double digits there. Raiders, Saints, thanks, but no thanks. I lean Saints. It's just my, 617-702 against Josh there. Falcons and Panthers, the winner is in first place. Can you imagine that? You would have got 5 million to 1, I bet you, if they said after week 8, Panthers or Falcons will be in first place in that division. It's
Yeah. Did you see my tweet this week about Rodgers lost to Brady lost to a third-string quarterback. Rodgers is a double-digit dog. The Giants are 6-1. The Jets are 5-2. What else is going on?
Exactly.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
The Eagles again. Eagles coming off the bye, just getting stronger. Listen, I believe in Tomlin. I think they never go into a game where they're not prepared. Don't forget, he lost by a bazillion to the Bills, and he was trying to kick a field goal in the fourth quarter, so he didn't get shut out in the second half there. So I don't know what to take there. I would lean Lions. I haven't gotten the report if Swift is back or St. Brown. Dolphins -3.5. Listen, at the end of the game, if Dolphins won by 7-10, I wouldn't be shocked either. We talked about the Cardinals. I'm the other way. The Patriots season is on the line. It's on the line. They lose. Thanks for playing. It could be Zappy fever for the rest of the year to see what they got. Jets lose Breece Hall. I know Michael Carter is serviceable. He's not Breece Hall. They bring over James Robinson this week. I'm getting them less than 3. I think the Pats win by 3 or more. That's just me. Titans, Texans is the stench of the week. How is the Titans only favored by 2.5 at the Texans? I would lean Texans here just because of the stench. That's me.
Can I stop you on something with that game?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I just hate playing against bad teams because bad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But Texans have covered 7 of 8 in that series at home. And if I told you, name the team this year in the NFL that has been out-yardaged in every game this year and is 4-2, what's your answer?
The Titans.
Yes. Yep. So you're correct, Mr. Dawson.
Giants, Seahawks, listen, you all know, if you didn't invite me to the wedding, don't expect me at the funeral. I haven't been a part of the Giants. And I'm telling you, the story in the NFL right now leading up to the kickoff in week 8, in my eyes, is Geno Smith. God bless that man. He could have pouted. He could have quit, whatever. He has been outstanding. Now, no DK Metcalf. You're not going to get Marquise Goodwin, whatever you want to call him, at 30-31 to get 2 touchdowns this week. But the Giants just hang around in the first half. They wear you down in the second half.
Yep.
And they're going to Barkley. If you got Barkley, you play him every which way but lose twice on Sunday. He's going to have a field day there. Commodores Colts, I could give a rat's ass. It's now the Sam Ellinger show. Thanks for playing, Matt Ryan. God bless you. You had a great career. The Commanders, again, it would have been a revenge game, right, for Wentz again. Now it's the Heineke show over there. Nice to see Terry McLaurin back in action last week there. Rams, 49ers. I knew all along, and it killed me. I have a Debo Chase team. Thanks for playing there. Both out this week. 49ers, this is the magical number. Again, the Rams usually come into the 49ers 1.5-point favorites. The 49ers blow them out. Now they return the favor. Here's my take on this game. And another team coming off a bye, by the way, if you had the Niners against the Chiefs, I'm going to assume most people will go back to the window and grab the 49ers against the Rams. Now, when the CMC trade was made, I reached out to Riley. We were doing the show, trying to get some numbers. What are they to win the division? What are they to win the NFC? Because we thought that Niner team was the team that is built for the playoffs. The numbers didn't really even move. The Niners went to -120 to win the division. Rams were +160. It smells. People really need to do this. It's not about the logo in front. It's not about the names on the back. And I know a lot of people don't have time. They don't understand. You got to start reading the market. It's just a numbers game. That's all it is. It's a numbers game. And so people just don't understand it. So again, as we were talking and Debo's out, what are we saying? Oh, shit, I don't like the Niners now. If you were betting the Lakers and LeBron and AD was scratched and the line went from -8 to a pick 'em, you're going to go jump on the other side, just like there was a game this week. Zion Williamson and Ingram both out, and they still won the game outright.
I think the Rams are awful. I mean, to me, that's the Niners. That's probably my strongest road favorite all week. I don't see them. The Rams stink. They stink.
And Packers, Bills, listen, we know how good the Bills are. We know how bad the Packers are playing. All three of you guys, including myself, we're smart here. When you are hunted and have a bullseye every week, it doesn't matter if you're home or away, it starts to wear on you. If you listen to Aaron talk after the loss and they said, oh, geez, now you got to get to go to the Bills. Did you know you're 10.5, 11-point underdogs? Oh, good. That's good. All right.
I was good.
Well, now, maybe, just maybe, that gives us a good chance. In other words, the world's off his shoulder now because no one expects him to win. No one.
And the Packers have to do something that they're not doing consistently. They've got a two-headed monster in that backfield. I don't understand the schemes. Run the damn ball.
Riley.
And I think you're right. I think the Packers might show up and cover 10 or 11, the more I think about it.
Go ahead, Jeff. You had a question before I was going to mention my
You
piece.
need to start getting a petition or something to LaFleur and say, listen, I talked to these guys and I know we're not coaches. Okay, can you just run one drive? That's all I'm asking. One drive with Jones in the slot and Dillon in the backfield. Just one drive. If you got to punt after 3 and out, don't ever try it again. I am telling you that is the formula. That is your formula.
100%.
Dillon in the backfield.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I don't think they're going to do it to that degree ever. Honestly, I don't think they will. Jones, I can't remember if he was in the slot or not, caught a touchdown pass the other day. But I think they could do that, especially with Lazard out on Sunday night. Might have to do something creative like that. But yeah, I think I told you, Jeff, this morning, it wouldn't surprise me if the Packers won tonight with everyone against them and then turned around next week and had a stinker against the Lions or something along those lines, honestly. So, like I said, this defense has not been up to expectations for what everyone or anyone that was buying into them, but they've shown many, many flashes of being a very good defense. They just haven't put 4 quarters together. Like you said, they had on top, they had a pick 6 last week. Should have had maybe one, a couple more interceptions, if not another pick 6 of Heineke last week.
Easily,
and obviously,
too.
Allen's different, but this defense can play. And Lazard's out. The defense this weekend. Rashawn Gary's questionable. I think he's playing. So, if Rashawn Gary's out, then maybe this is a different story. But if he's healthy, which wasn't really healthy this past week. He's one of the underrated players in the entire league on the defensive side of the ball this year.
Buffalo could be a little flat. They have the Jets next week. I'm not a big fan of Sunday Night Football because it's the only game in town. I'll be watching the World Series most likely anyway. But might take a grab of the points on that one. But that's kind of the board. It's kind of how I see it this week.
And last but not least, Mr. Lucky, you brought it up earlier in the week. I'll just say it again. I know Chase isn't there for the Bengals. That has nothing to do with it. Mr. Lucky, you can tell everyone watching and listening exactly how many wins Jolton Joe Burrow has against the Browns.
None.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
Yeah. That's the reason I might be off that game. But, boy, the Browns, this team. There's another team, poorly coached. Anyway,
closing thoughts,
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Here are my
Give-
closing thoughts. Jeff Dawson, if you need a little translator for your upcoming vacation, buenos dias, amigo. ¿Cómo estás? Anyway, have a great time, Jeff, with family.
We leave Sunday after 3. Wife told me 3 days of sailing, and then let me see, Bahamas, St. Thomas, Dominican Republic, and end up in Puerto Rico.
Nice.
I hope.
You're going to enjoy some nice arroz con frijoles, my friend. Jeff, text me if you need any tips. Send me a couple of photos, and I'll tell you what to order.
I will. And listen, Lucky, I live on Cape Cod. I hate boats. I hate the water. I'm taking the office with me. I have internet package. I don't know how good it's going to be. You could end up with the Friday off next week. I don't know. I'm doing my best to try to get a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. Riley's going to take the helm and have some fun with the board here. And who knows, he could end up with LaFleur in on one day, Michael Jordan in on another day. And, he's bringing in the big dogs, I heard.
Hey, real quick, got a couple minutes. I just want to let you guys know something, which I thought was funny. I was a little late because I was doing calisthenics before I got here. So don't take Denver. If you play the Denver Jaguar game tomorrow on Sunday, there's consultation services for you afterwards. 30 minutes are free. Please do not play that game.
I haven't heard one person talk about the Jaguars this week. Just telling everyone, that's all.
That was a really nice hour with you guys. Jeff, you gave me some good information. Ryder, you did too. You're kind of closer to that Green Bay feel. I don't know. 11 points. That's a lot of points.
Like I said, I think the defense. Yeah, I don't know. If you're concerned about the offense, then I get it. I don't know. You guys talked about the target. These last 3 games, we've gotten everybody's best shot coming into, whether it's Lambeau Field or over in London against the Giants. I don't know if the Bills are giving us their best shot, then yeah, the Bills are going to cover 11, right? But I feel like the Packers are going to give them their best shot. So I don't know.
We hope to rebound Sunday. Sunday's my official birthday, and nice. I will be going 5-0. I believe it, Jeff. Riley, I believe it. Jeff, we are only 4 back in CIRCA. We are not looking at the standings. We decided this week. We move on. We were 2-3 last week. We move on. We're not even looking at the standings.
No, and you're about at the halfway point. So it's like me in fantasy. I started the year with a lot of my teams so bad. I was 250 out on a couple leagues. Next thing you know, I'm less than 100 in the head-to-heads. A couple of them I'm one game out. A couple of them I'm leading. It's just a grind. And listen, it's not for everyone. Listen, everyone likes to say, hey, I just got a hug from Derek Stevens. Jeffrey Benson gave me a couple drink tickets. I got the $1,000 hat. I'm ready for the CIRCA contest. They don't even make it to Halloween. They've tapped out. They're 12 games back. They don't put their picks in. It's not for everyone. Trust
I
me.
love it. I'm loving it. Riley, you got to get into it next year. It's awesome. Jeff,
No
it's
doubt.
been a great 2022 NFL season. For me
Yes.
personally, we've done well. I can't thank you enough, my friend. Cannot thank you enough for giving me the opportunity here. And please follow me on Twitter. I have a lot of fun with these coaches. Riley, you're the best. My condolences to your Packers. Jeff,
For
have a
now.
great time. If you need translation, let me know,
I
Senor
will
Amigo.
I will keep you guys on speed dial. So behave yourself. I'll make sure I talk to you in between and enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll be in touch, sir.
Okay, have a great weekend. Jeff, have a blast. Best to you and your family. Riley, take care, my friend.
Same to you, my friend.
Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade. Make sure to go follow him. He is a great, great friend, a great, great guy. Have been blessed to have broken bread with him this past March. I think it was March in Vegas. Met his friends and then hope to see him soon. It's been a great hour and change, and we're not done yet. I wanted to go through the NBA before we left today. Let me just change these over here. You can start up. It's a pretty decent board. I'm just going to give you my quick 2 second eye
Yeah.
test, which the some of these games the totals have been 230, 231. There was a 237 last night total.
Yep.
So and as Dave said, they're getting there. They're somehow, some way getting there. So my quick eye test. There you go. Right now, Detroit Atlanta was a 223. Corrected number 229. I would like your thoughts at one point. Does that game get over? Charlotte and Orlando, no thanks. Philly, Toronto. I would lean dog, but Philly's another one of those teams like the Nets, like the Lakers that just can't get it going. Celtics only favored by 6. That stinks to me. I think Cleveland's the side there. Lakers at Minnesota, how the mighty have fallen. Minnesota is 6.5 with a 230 or 31. I think that one goes. Now, actually, I don't think it goes over. I don't trust the Lakers offense. So another stench of the night here, Riley. The Bucks only favored by 6 against the Knicks. That one reeks to high heaven. Your Bulls, 4.5, 5 at San Antonio, who's supposed to be tanking. San Antonio game's been flying over. That's at a 231. Utah, we're waiting them to start losing at Denver. Denver, 8-point favorites. Correct me if I'm wrong. Game 1 or 2, I think it was the second day. Utah put a whooping on Denver. We were on Denver there, and we got spanked on that one. So a little revenge maybe there. Pelicans and Phoenix, don't know. I guess Zion was a question mark. I did see Ingram out, I thought. 7.5 there with Phoenix. A 225, which to me means it's going under. And then Houston and the Blazers.
No Dame.
What's that?
No Dame Lillard. No Damian Lillard. No Damian Lillard for that.
All right, so the line's only 4 there for a reason. So that's the quick eye test, my friend.
Alrighty, so there's definitely a few spots that I am interested in. We, you know what, still early in the season. I think middle of the season is probably the best time for it. But you and I on these NBA Fridays made a nice weekly profit on these Fridays, man, fading the public. And I think there's a couple spots tonight, kind of as you mentioned. Still figuring out the totals. I'm more of a totals guy in basketball than I am in baseball, but not as much of a totals guy that I am in football. And I agree with you. I think there's some spots tonight. I mean, the crazy one, if you didn't see it, and I had the team total, so this one wasn't affected. The Bulls and Pacers the other day was like 233. Might have even gone down to 232.5 for some people. And Ben Matherin as Dalen Terry, two teammates from Arizona last night. Dalen Terry getting, I think, maybe some of his first minutes of the entire season. Ben Matherin, obviously, Rookie of the Year candidate. Terry's dribbling out the clock at the top of the key, just waiting. I think he was just waiting for the shot clock to go out or what. Doesn't look, and then Matherin comes in and swipes it and goes down for the jam. If from one thing, if they weren't teammates last year, anybody else, and Dalen Terry's fighting that person. But busted anyone who had 232.5 on the game total because Ben Matherin swipes it as they're trying to dribble out the clock. Like I said, if they were teammates, those two are brawling afterwards, and Dalen Terry's not a guy to mess with that. So that was funny and probably made an enemy for Bulls fans there, Ben Matherin. But nonetheless, I've got my Bulls blog out 4-1 on my best bet so far. Not touching the Bulls spread because I admittedly am a little concerned. That one also seems a little too good to be true as far as the Bulls are concerned there. However, it does sound like Zach LaVine is questionable. They're kind of they're pretty much taking a load management approach with Zach LaVine right now. The way with his injury, knee issues that he had at the end of the season. And now coming in, they've said he's fine, but now they're doing the load management. They've got a back-to-back coming home tomorrow for Philly, who obviously an Eastern Conference opponent they're going to put more emphasis on than a non-conference opponent in San Antonio. So I'm assuming, so either this is too good to be true I think it's too good to be true. I'm hoping the Bulls win, but I'm not sure about the -5. But it does seem like Zach LaVine might be out, and therefore I, on my Bulls best bet of the day, took a little, you and I don't always love the star player props, but I went with DeMar DeRozan. If Zach LaVine's out, his volume of shots is going to go through the roof, and that's at least worth the swing if Zach LaVine is out. So I don't know. Am I right to be concerned about the Bulls before I move on off of this game? This isn't even the first game of the night, but am I right to be concerned about the Bulls tonight on the spread?
I think so. I mean, we were assuming that's, Pop and the Spurs were in the Wembayamba sweepstakes, and they've actually been pretty good this year. Competitive, high-scoring games. The number looks low to me. Opened at 4.5. It's now 5. I would if you're going to jump in on Chicago tonight, I initially would tread lightly.
Yeah, and honestly, like I'm saying, if you want, I guess part of my Bulls blog purpose is for Bulls fans to have the smartest bet that they possibly can with some type of Bulls action. I think DeMar DeRozan would be that case. Former team also last year, 32 points. In a loss against them on the road in San Antonio earlier on in the season, and then 40-point game without Zach LaVine. So I think he is a prime candidate for a huge night. But I'm concerned about the Bulls anytime. When Lonzo Ball is out, and he is for the foreseeable future, I am concerned about any matchup where the opposing team has guards that can score and create their own shot, which San Antonio doesn't have name-worthy guys, but they have guards that can do just that. So I am concerned about the Bulls defensively here tonight.
And I'm looking at the splits right now on Wager Talk. 58, actually, no, that's not 58. 59% of the bets, 61% of the money in on Chicago. They're showing here on Wager Talk, it opened up at 5. It's down to 4.5. So if you want to believe that spreadsheet, there would be a little reverse line movement coming in on the Spurs right now.
Yep. So I will be hoping the Bulls can get it done. And yeah, they've looked better the last two offensively. They got the win over the Celtics on Monday. But they're still a flawed team, and especially if Zach LaVine's out, then their offense is fairly one-dimensional. I will say Nikola Vucevic finally looks, just general Bulls thoughts, finally looks like the guy from Orlando that we brought in and we were looking for. Now second full year, he's been looking really nice. They do play the Sixers and Joel Embiid, the boogeyman for Nikola Vucevic and the Bulls. So ask me again on Monday how I feel about Vuce and the Bulls. If that one goes well, then maybe my feelings are trending upwards there. So, anyways, going throughout the rest of the slate, you mentioned Atlanta, Detroit. Both these two teams just played each other, first of all. And aside from, I know the Thunder ended up going back-to-back wins over the Clippers, but a lot of these matchups I've seen so far, and I don't have hard numbers on hand, but a lot of these matchups so far where we've got two teams playing each other on, usually with a day off in between, have for the most part, gone to a nice split here. And in another case, the Pistons 1-4. A lot of these teams, there's obviously some exceptions, but there's been a lot of these teams that are off to a rough start where they kind of stick their foot in the mud and battle back and make sure they don't go into that big hole. So I kind of I've got some interest in, and again, it's the Hawks are at somewhat public side from what I see on DraftKings tracker. At least 65% of the bets, 78% of the money on Atlanta's spread here. So a Pistons team that has some firepower to them. I'm interested in the Pistons tonight. It does look like Jaden Ivey is out. But I've got some interest on the Pistons here in the spread tonight against the Hawks here at home. And I tweeted it out. I think they've got the late 90s, early 2000s kind of teal-looking jerseys and floor colors. So that if you like the old school feel to it, not the bad boy Pistons, but the late 90s, early 2000s Pistons look to them, and you like those those colors, then maybe you like the Pistons. Who knows?
What was the score the last time that they played?
Let's see. It was 118 to 113. So the Pistons did cover that game, actually.
So it was landed on 231. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So maybe these numbers are close, maybe they're spot on, but I obviously voice my opinions highly compared to what a lot of people are on the Pistons here. So we've seen this Hawks team has some inconsistencies. I think the Pistons have a good chance of even winning this game outright, but that's not the one that I love the most by any means. Definitely just some interest there and still tracking some money throughout the day, because even on these Fridays, as we, I was making sure I was double checking here over the last hour, even as we get closer to these games on Fridays, the money can change pretty drastically. So that's always something to keep up on. The other one, though, that I'm pretty interested in, another case of 2-2 team on the road at an 0-5 team, Orlando. Plus 1.5 right now, 0-5. Another team that I talked fairly highly about, at least compared to their expectations. Had an awesome game with Detroit on opening night, and then honestly, they've had a tough schedule. So I think the perception of them is quite a bit lower than what they actually are. No LaMelo. Hornets haven't had LaMelo. Still no LaMelo. And Orlando has lost. They're not going to have Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs tonight. So it's another one is why is this one so low with an 0-5 team and in a spot where I think the Hornets are starting to get. This is one where it was kind of 50-50 a little bit, but now the Hornets are starting to get more and more money coming onto their side. I see 67% of the bets for the Hornets tonight. So I'm interested there in the in the Magic. A little Paolo Banchero, nice night for them as well. So that was one of the ones I was more interested on the spread. What are you thinking as far as Hornets and Orlando tonight?
Yeah, I was looking at the info button here. Rozier doubtful, Martin doubtful, Ball out, Orlando Suggs and Anthony both out. An under-over open at 229 and a hook. Corrected number at 221. There is a 220 and a half. A Charlotte number open at 2.5, now down to 1.5. I'm seeing, again, on Wager Talk, it's different. Every site is different. They got 64% of the bets and 61% of the money on Orlando. So they're showing you that the tickets and the money and the number is moving correctly. I lean Orlando here, 0-5, trying to get off the schneid. Friday night, home team, home cooking, get the sleeping in the bed last night. So I like where your eyes are here.
Yeah, that one. Interesting. I'm glad you bring up those money splits because this one probably is different in different spots for sure there. So, interesting. So you were thinking maybe too good to be true for the Celtics against the Cavs as well. And I don't disagree with you. I was kind of torn earlier on in the day because going back to last year when the Celtics really got cooking, and I had a lot of success January and February betting on the Celtics. It was whenever they were a 7-point favorite or higher. Those were the nights where they were really, really rolling, right? And now you already got – but now my issue now is, a lot of people are starting to buy into Cleveland. Is this a too good to be true number for Cleveland? But seeing the money, where the money is going, I think this is a good spot for Cleveland alongside what you mentioned at the opening there. And, I mean, you already saw the Bulls and Celtics kind of a similar number. I mean, I guess you could say the Cavs are better than the Bulls. But it was a 5.5, 6 against the Bulls for the Celtics as well. And, after the first quarter, it was all Bulls on that one. So, I don't know. You sticking to that? You thinking this is a good Cavs number here?
Well, I outside looking in, yes, Grant Williams out, Garland out. Grant Williams serving that 1-game suspension. Celtics coming off their First loss? Second loss?
They are 3-1. They haven't played since that Bulls game. Yeah, so they've had a nice few days off here. Yeah.
So it's funny. You could call on the Friday nights because they either blow a team out or they lose the game outright.
Right.
That's usually what happens on Friday night. And I think the number's short. That's just me. I think it should be around 7.5, 8. It's not that far off, but I just think the number's a little short. That's all.
Yeah. I was with you. Like I said, this Celtics team is whenever I just going back to last year, it was like, all right, they're favored by 7 against a fairly good team. I'm hammering the Celtics. They're taking this one, and now obviously it's only been one case so far this year. But and like I said, my biggest hesitation and ultimately why I'm staying away is a lot of people love the Cavs, but even just looking at the bets and money splits, then maybe that's not the case here. So I'm staying away from it. But I think the Cavs have a good shot here. Donovan Mitchell has looked really, really solid for him, and they've got. I mean the same thing maybe with the Celtics and Bulls case as far as Vucevic, kind of having a bigger presence than his box score stated. This Cavs team has a huge presence in the paint as far as Mobley and Jared Allen. So maybe that's the difference in the game here. Donovan Mitchell also, I don't know. But, I'm going to stay away from that one for sure there.
No, I agree. I would be Cavs or nothing, but I'm going to stay away.
Okay. Let's see. Indy and Washington, not the strongest thoughts, although I am seeing 42% of the bet, and this is DraftKings tracker. Obviously, if you've got something different, then go ahead and mention it away. This is obviously a fairly public book, but Pacers 42% of the bet, 70% of the money on their spread there. I know they just got Miles Turner back. I assume he's also back here tonight, so that is obvious. That changes them quite a bit. They're also definitely a team that is in the tankathon, and they are 1-4, already off to a good start as far as the tankathon is concerned. But I don't know. I'm torn on that one. Washington, maybe that's a Washington number. I don't know. They're coming off of a win over Detroit. Let's see, that was Tuesday, I believe. Indiana coming off a loss against the Bulls. So I'm going to stay away from that one. But any faith in Washington, or do you think that might be a good night for the Pacers?
I just have a hard time. The actual opening number at Chris is 6. I have a hard time wrapping my head around the Wizards being 6-point favorites over anyone, never mind the Pacers. I know there's some issues there. A 230 opening number now down to 228 and a hook. Let me see here. I'm showing a lot of money coming in on Washington, yet the line's going the other way. Again, I think it's Wager Talk playing Jedi mind tricks here. Washington on Friday nights. I'll give you the all-time best story. You'll like this one. 2.5-point favorites against your Bulls. Up 30 at halftime. And the Bulls come back in the second half and win the game by 1.
Last year?
This I think was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Couple of years
no,
ago.
I just remember because they played last Friday, I think, and the Bulls almost came back, and DeMar had a buzzer beater chance. But I know maybe it was 2 years ago. I just know he hit a buzzer beater against them last year. I don't know if that was the one or not, but anyway, there's plenty of games that are worth betting on and worth watching more than that one. So Philly and Toronto. There's Philly along with, and these few teams are all different reasons why, but I'm still just wait and see. I don't really want to touch this team. The Sixers, the Lakers, the Nets, all 3 teams that I am just not really touching their games with a 10-foot pole right now. Out of those 3 teams, I think the Sixers will end up winning the most games and being the most competitive and probably have a better chance of figuring out their issues. But this Toronto team is solid. They don't make a ton of mistakes, so I'm staying away from it. This is another case though where these 2 teams did just play each other on Wednesday. Raptors get the 119-109 win, so maybe by that I would lean towards the Sixers. But again, I'm not there's a few teams right now that I'm just not touching until they even out a little bit, and the Sixers are one of them right now.
No, and that's a good point here for anyone watching and listening, because go back to last year, January 1st. Look at the record of the Celtics. They were awful, and they finally bought in. I think you're going to get your Nets, your Lakers, your Sixers, maybe another couple of those teams just feeling each other out. Do we need to make a move? Do we not? And then finally, the start of the year before the All-Star break, it clicks, and then they go off on that run. I mean, I'm glad you brought it up. My mind would say, hey, as you said, Toronto got Philly Wednesday in Philly. This is the revenge spot. Well, let me ask you a question. Why isn't Philly favored? I'd respect Philly minus 2.5 than getting 2.5.
Oh, totally. Even on the road, and with how decent this Raptors team is, and it's another one. I saw somebody say it, and I don't remember if it was about the Sixers, maybe it was about the Lakers. And again, they're all very different cases in it of themselves. I think all three of them will probably be a lot better than what they've shown the first week. Whether that means 30 wins, 40 wins, 50 wins, I don't know. But these teams right now, those three teams especially, when you talk about certain spots or if you want to find them on the right day or whatever, a lot of times just haven't figured themselves out enough to follow those types of spot rules if you're one of those people. So again, it seems like a spot for the Sixers, but I'm going to stay away from it. I think I did a little action parlay with a free a free couple dollar bet that one of my books gave me, and I threw my guy Fred VanVleet over his points on one of the legs. So that's where my interests lie in this one. But I don't know. Something stinks here. Maybe it's a Raptors number, but I'll stay away from it for sure there.
No, I agree.
You mentioned the Bucks, only 6-point favorites, 3-0 Milwaukee Bucks against the 3-1 New York Knicks. There, what are you getting for money splits? Because I actually see on DraftKings here about 50-50 bets, but the money handle, 91% on DraftKings to the Knicks spread.
Yeah, I'm showing 64% of the bets on New York, 57% of the money in on the Knicks. And this is another one of these spots where it looks too good to be true. So therefore we flock to the Knicks and the Bucks win by 30. The actual value play is the Bucks only 6-point favorites at home on a Friday night. But I'm staring at this number. It reeks. It looks, again, too short for me. But when you look at your splits, look at my splits, it's a no play.
Right. And honestly, it's apples to oranges. Looking through some of these, when you've got only 4 or 5 games under their belt, and maybe a team's 4-1, or in the Knicks' case 3-1, sometimes you have to look at, okay, well, who have they beaten? Have they been 3-1 good, or are they just smoking these bad teams? The Knicks are 3-1, losing to the Grizzlies opening night. Then they beat Detroit, Orlando, and Charlotte, and Milwaukee. But in Milwaukee's case, they're 3-0, beating 90-88 win over Philly, and then a Houston team and a dysfunctional Nets team. So I don't know that either of these teams have figured themselves out right now. I'm not, as much as I think the Bucks should handle business, who knows? They might be in for a sticker themselves. So I agree with you. This is a hard stay away from me as well.
I agree.
Did you have any? I didn't hear what your thoughts were on this Lakers game. Again, you heard me just say it with the Sixers. Lakers, Sixers, and Nets. I am not touching right now. They're 6.5-point dogs in Minnesota. Let's see. Now I was thinking they might have played already. Minnesota's actually handled this matchup over the last year or so pretty well. But in Minnesota, another team, I like a lot of the pieces they've had. Their 5 games. 2 wins over OKC, a split with San Antonio, and a loss to Utah. So can you tell me with confidence that the Wolves are exactly who they're supposed to be? I not yet. I don't think so, but obviously it's the 0-4 Lakers. So gun to your head, where would you go in this one?
You got to take the Lakers. I just hate to say it, just because of this.
I know.
Minnesota is inflated because how bad the Lakers are playing.
Yep.
Now, Stephen A. said they could start the year 0-11. That's how bad their schedule is.
Yeah.
Would that get Russ out? Would that get Ham out? I talked about it on our show last night to Brady and to Dave Sharapan, and Stephen A. Smith was talking about this. And it's just a thought. The Lakers and Miss Bus, LeBron's in his 20th year.
Yep.
You're not going to win the NBA championship this year. Okay. There's a generational player coming in to the draft, Wembayamba, this year. And as you said, the number 2 guy is just as good as well. Not as good, but he's good. Why wouldn't you take offers on LeBron. You've already sold your season tickets. It doesn't matter, right? You got a team in Cleveland that's trying to build. Maybe he wants to go back there. Maybe he wants to go back to Miami. He's already said he'd love to play with Luka in Dallas. The fact is, you could get no pun intended here. You could get a king's ransom for LeBron. Okay. Then you move AD. Someone will pick up AD, and then someone at the break or somewhere that wants to dump $40 million on their salary cap would pick up Westbrook on a dump. So, and then you got a shot at a 1 or the 2 pick.
I agree with everything except for the Pelicans have the rights to a pick swap this year. That's the problem with the tank. They cannot tank. Unless the Pelicans are the 1 pick and they're the 2 pick, they don't have their pick unless the Pelicans have a. So that's the problem with the whole tank narrative. As far as I still agree with you, as far as the future of the franchise, I mean, how do you expect to salvage anything out of what they have right now? I still 100% agree with you. But the problem at the end of it, though, they don't have the ability to tank unless they think who obviously is a very competitive team and rightfully so, good for them. The Pelicans are hoping they flounder and go, have a top 5 pick and I don't think it's any type of protection. The Pelicans can take their pick. No, the Pelicans can take their pick. So I still agree with you, though, because they're not winning the title. You have to figure the only way that they even salvage the season and, have a good team is, obviously LeBron and AD. I still believe in them individually in some capacity. Like you said, LeBron's still got left in the tank if he's in the right situation. If Anthony Davis can get and stay healthy, then he's still got something in the tank. Obviously, that's a big if. And so, yeah, the only way is if somebody's dumb enough to give you the right trade package for Westbrook, which obviously you've got to probably sweeten the deal quite a bit as well and get something in return. But at the end of the day, no, they're not a good team. They're a dysfunctional team. If you're a Lakers hater, it's a fun time to be alive. But I'm with you. I think there is. I don't know that they do it. I don't know how it gets done. I haven't gone down that road too much. But to save the future of the franchise, I think you have to get to at least think out of the side of the box and consider for the right offers, doing everything that you said. But yeah, at the end of it, they're not able to tank for old Victor there.
Just you're at a point where, and then someone brought up, is Bronny coming out next year?
I don't even know. I don't think it's not this upcoming draft. I want to say it's 2020 because he's not even been to. I think he's still got to make his decision where he's playing next year. Which I've always taken the stance, unless you are LeBron himself or Victor or Zion, I typically take a stance of not buying stock on these overhyped draft prospects for the most part. And Bronny James Jr. would, at least in my, again, could he be an all-star for sure? But, playing against the dudes that he's playing against, again, I don't want to harp on the kid. The kid's going to be in the NBA for sure. I'm just not betting on him to be a franchise-changing prospect like his father was to that.
So you comparing him to, what is it, LiAngelo Ball?
LiAngelo? No, not going that far. I'll compare him closer to, not the same playing style, but not LiAngelo Ball. He's not an NBA player, but no, I think he'll be in the NBA. I just don't think he's going to be, maybe a borderline lottery pick if it has something to do with, if Indiana is the 12th pick and they think they're going to get Bronny James Jr. and his dad, who's still got a couple of years left, then maybe they do that. I don't know, but. I'm not holding out too much Bronny James Jr. stock at this point in time, at least.
All righty.
Let's see. Only a few left here. Pelicans, Suns. You mentioned it. No Ingram, and then a few other guys are questionable. The 7.5 would lead you to believe that probably a handful of guys are out. McCollum questionable, Alvarado questionable, Zion questionable. So not sure what to expect there. Anytime it's looking like that, unless I feel firmly that I can expect one thing, I'm gonna stay away from it the most part. But any feels towards that one at all?
Nah, I was trying to dig deep there. I when you see that many scratches and stuff, and I look at the opening number, where it is, where it's moving. If you got to keep peeling and peeling, it's, study long, study wrong. So I just turned the page there.
100%. Utah and Denver, another one where Utah has shown a ton of life, but you mentioned it. It was night one. Not only did they upset them on night one, but you had Colin Sexton doing the bull at Nikola Jokic, and he is not one who typically forgets that type of stuff. So I would imagine you're going to see a spirited Nikola Jokic himself tonight. On top of Denver 3-2, a lot of expectations. They themselves have not been quite what everyone expected. Not saying I'm taking the laying the 8.5 with them, but I would at least expect maybe I find a way to take some Jokic action, because I really think he is gonna make a point of emphasis to have a huge night here against that team that embarrassed him to some degree. So, would you feel good about the laying the 8.5, or maybe just feeling good that Nuggets bounce back and at least get that win there?
What was the final score on that game? Because I think I had the over, and we ran short on that game.
It was a blowout. I don't know what your number was, 123 to 102. I'm seeing a closing total 225.5.
I had 225. That's right. We pushed that one.
Oh, you pushed. Okay.
We missed an 8-foot layup there at the buzzer. And then again, it was great because Utah got out, and I wasn't expecting it from the Utah side. I'm like, okay, Denver, let's go get it going. And you're right. There it is. We had the 225, and it landed on 225.
Yeah, and again, Utah's played spirited. I don't know how long that's going to last. You would assume they're trying to be in the tankathon, but again, who knows what to expect from them. But Denver, and again, you look through their schedule. They did beat the Warriors, so that maybe that one gives you some confidence. But let me see what Jokic over under 26. Maybe a little point, rebound, and assist for old Jokic, 46.5. Maybe go 46.5 over, and he's got a nice. What would it have to be? 25, 12, and 12, 49 total there. I don't know. That's where I'm going with that game. How about a nice little Jokic point, rebound, assist total?
I want to take the over in this, and then let me see your splits. These splits say 63% of the bets, 99% of the money on the over.
On the over, let's. Hang on, my website glitched out on me. Let's see. Goodness gracious. I got my cat screaming at me over here. 53% of the 53% of the bets to the over, 63% of the money to the over.
And I'm seeing money pouring in on Utah. So you know what? As much as I want to take the over, I'm going to go here. I see some 8.5s. I see some 8s. On the show, my NBA play of the day will be Nuggets -8. How's that sound?
Okay, I can buy into it. Again, as far as narratives players, again, we like to play numbers for sure. There's certain times where when a guy like Jokic, who is very prideful and is the 2-time rated MVP, is getting the running of the Bulls going up against him from a bet. Exactly. A week later, and that team just beat you. I have to imagine Mr. the Joker is not going to be taking this one lightly. So I'm with you there. Houston and Portland. Portland 4-1. I told you I had Dame as one of my dark horse MVP candidates. He came out of the gates fantastic. Now he's out for he's got something with his calf reevaluation in 1 to 2 weeks. So not sure what to expect. I don't even know how many people are aware of that news. So a line like this, I'm going to stay far away from it. This Portland team still has some scoring ability. It's not going to be. If Damian Lillard is ever out, I don't expect him to be out that long in this injury, but if he ever is out that long this year with the way that their team is structured, it's not as bad as they were last year. They added some pieces, scoring pieces as compared to their team last year. So having said that, still a 4-point spread against a 1-4 Houston team is certainly concerning, I would say. So I'm going to stay away from it. But this Portland team is still fun without him. I think. I don't know. This one is I could see this one going a million different ways. It wouldn't shock me if Portland won by 20. It wouldn't shock me if Houston pulls off an upset here.
Yeah, I see Porter is probable and Sengun probable. Fernando out for Houston and Lillard out. The initial eye test is the numbers short. Obviously, that's because of Lillard. Wager Talk showing 61% of the bets, 68% of the money on Houston. Again, would I be shocked if Houston blew them out? Absolutely not. Little leery there, slight lean to Houston, but not enough to run to the window.
100% agree with you. So yeah, I like your Nugget selection. Would like it to be a little bit more of a definitely a trendy public favorite in the Hornets, but I like the Magic to take care of business tonight. I've got my Bulls blog with DeRozan over 27.5. And I got a small little sprinkle on the Pistons on the spread as well against Atlanta there tonight.
Yeah, I was looking at that game. Listen, when I see a number 223, a corrected number of 229, and then I'm trying to see here 68%, no, 60%, 90%. And you said that one landed on what, 231 when they played last?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, see, so the corrected number, the actual number was 223, and then they give you a corrected number. So this is supposed to be an underplay. It's supposed to be an underplay. I won't touch that one. But I'll be rooting for you. What'd you say? You're catching 6?
6. What did I catch it 6.5? But it's looks like 6 right now. Yeah,
Okay.
I caught 6.5, but it was 6.
Okay.
Or it is 6 now.
So 6.5. I like, nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that.
No, and I've had to hold myself back. It's been a good test of how me and I, sticking to how much I, especially with Orlando and Detroit, of okay, well, you talked to a pretty big, what about these two teams right before the season started? Are you brave enough to back them when they're 9.5-point favorites? And it's like, all right, well, maybe 9.5-point favorite, a little too good to be true. So I've pumped the brakes on that, but I shied away the other night. So I guess I'm a little worried in the Pistons that it was as opposed to a money line split. Maybe it's going to be a spread split on that one. I don't know, but I'll still give them some confidence tonight. But I like Orlando tonight as well. And then I've got a little sprinkle on outside of the NBA on the old Phillies first 5 money line for tonight's baseball game there.
And we talked about it some time ago. Take a swing at the lefties in the home run props. Yordan Alvarez for Houston, and Schwarber and Harper for the Phillies. If you weren't here earlier, go back to the start of the show. Kind of broke down my thoughts. And the more and more I think about this is, instead of trying to get cute, listen, if you like the Phillies in the series, take them now, because I think they got a real puncher's chance. And if you do like them in the series, and Wheeler Nola loses today, you can go back and get the Phillies at around plus 240, 250. So I think they're alive. They're a live dog. I would not be shocked if they won today, and I wouldn't be shocked if they found a way. Now, listen, people calling me crazy. Houston's undefeated in the playoffs. I get all that, guys. I do. Trust me, I do. It's just this Phillies team has the magic. They have the it factor. And I'm just telling you this. That's all they need is a split to get back to Philly, and there's no guarantee that there's any more games in Houston. And so I think all the pressure's on Houston. I think the Phillies are playing with house money. And when you're playing with house money, especially in the World Series, those teams tend to find a way to win the series.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And back to your point as far as when to take them, you're going to have, if you still believe in them, if they're losing tonight, like you said, you can go back and get them tomorrow at an even better price. But if you don't take them today and they win, and then they win again in game 2, you're going to be a lot more upset at yourself than if you take them tonight and then they lose, and then you're, you still got some options to take them again. But if you love them and you are waiting on tonight and then they win and then win again in game 2, then you kind of miss the boat there. So I'm with you 100% on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get a Phillies if they lose at around a plus 240 tomorrow with Wheeler on the mound. That will be a short dog. Now I'll play devil's advocate. If the Phillies win tonight, you're going to get the Astros at a pick, maybe even plus 120. And so you could play coy. Listen, you can grab the Phillies tonight plus 170 in the series, say. Phillies win, you can go back tomorrow, get the Astros plus 120. You're guaranteed plus money. And you can take it from them. There's a million ways to skin this cat. This is how I'll close. If you have any questions, go to Twitter at EC Sports Invest. Put it on my timeline. DM me. You can, if you're a shy guy or gal, you can send me an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Closing thoughts, Riley.
Closing thoughts. I don't have any closing thoughts. We've been here almost 2 hours, my friend, but and it was a lovely, lovely, lovely 2 hours. I am very happy that you had me here all this time. I got the chance to hang out with Lucky. But yeah, let's see, 2.5, 3 hours till tip off. Got the I've up to 4-1 on the Bulls best bets. I've got one out today. I'll have another one out tomorrow. The Bulls play. And then Sunday morning we'll have another Packers blog, which I finally had my worst week that I've had since last year. So I feel good about a bounce back, at least on the blog. We'll see about the Packers in general there. But yeah, so 3 straight days, three different blogs, and then I think the Bulls play on Monday, so make it 4 straight days on 4 blogs on 4 days. So I'll be busy writing those blogs. I've been having fun with them, having a lot of success, so no complaints. But I don't know what the rest of the next week and a half looks like, but I'm sure we'll have things figured out one way or another. Whether you've got the Wi-Fi in the boat or not, we'll have something rocking and rolling this next week and a half.
Yeah, and if I don't talk to you by Sunday, what I would say on the Packers, knowing that Lazard's going to be out, Watson is questionable. Christian Watson, right? Watson, yeah.
Yeah, Christian Watson, yeah.
I think Amari Rodgers is sneaky, but I'll just go to Old Faithful. I know that Aaron Jones is the chalk. I'll go to Old Faithful with a Robert Tonyan anytime touchdown. He's rolled into his guy. He's looked real good. His snap counts are up.
And to cut you off real quick, as far as that, he didn't have the best week this past week against Washington. But the main reason I didn't have any action with him, Washington's been very stingy to opposing tight ends. So that's not so much of a, why did Tanyan fall off? Washington's very good against tight ends, is all that is, in my opinion.
I don't know what's going on tomorrow. I haven't talked to Mr. Florida. If are you tied up tomorrow? You got plans?
I think I'm wide open.
All right.
Tomorrow. I think the rest of November I might have some Saturday stuff going on, which I'm sure I could still be flexible for anyways. But I think I'm open tomorrow.
All right. Scotty's been available on Saturdays, so I'll reach out to him. I haven't heard about him all week. Otherwise, I'll reach out to you. It might not be an early morning one. Maybe we'll let the noontime games go since we already talked Big Ten anyways. And then we can do an afternoon, evening, and talk World Series Game 1 or whatever. But I think Scotty will be available, but we'll get to that when it gets there, okay? So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed day, a blessed evening. The weekend is here. We hit almost the 2-hour mark. Riley, that is a record for me. So hats off to you. I know back in your younger days, your older days, you guys were putting out 2 hours a day from open to close. So this kind of makes up for the couple missed shows that we had earlier this week. Plus, we did the Big Ten, so we got almost 3 hours in today together. So thank you.
I need to get up and stretch my legs, man. The time is flying by. The day's almost over here, but no, it was a blast all day long. So went from this morning show to write my Bulls blog back into this. So I am ready to take a little breather and then dive back into the action in a couple hours here.
And I can guarantee you I know what this is, but yes, it is. So we got those great DMs to end the show. So
yeah.
Everyone have a great day, a great evening. Enjoy. Don't be the pizza man, guys. Do not chase. Go home, spend some time with the kids, the family, the wife. Get a nice cold one, maybe a nice little dinner. You got a little football, you got a full slate of the NBA, a little hockey, and of course the World Series. Have some fun. Will you have some fun? Sprinkle a little something on a couple of your dog plays. Don't be shy. But again, remember, Tuesday is November. That means there's only 2 months left to 2022. And myself and Riley want to see you here the rest of the year and on to 2023. So have a blessed evening. Have some fun, and we'll see you soon.